Are you going to do the same thing today you did yesterday and expect a different result? Change what you think, change what you do, and tomorrow will be different from today. You know why it's so simple for me? Because I have a lot of experience. You can only change your tomorrows by changing yourself today. Welcome to another edition of Mark's Inspiration, The Power is Within podcast. Glad you could join us here today. Got a special guest tonight, Joshua Palmer of JP Fitness. And then we're going to be talking about muscles, game, and frame. But before we begin, hit that like button and subscribe. Check us out on The Dragon Ship every Saturday at 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Where else? Check out my books on Amazon. Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels, and The Power is Within. I'm also on Twitter at Mark's Inspiration and Rumble. I'm on Rumble at Mark's Inspiration. One more thing. And if you'd like to get my help personally, I do consultations. marksinspiration.com is my website. You can find out a little more about me and what I do. So without further ado, let's bring on Joshua Palmer. Hey man, what's up? Can you hear me?
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. Yeah, I hear you. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm really good, thank you. Can't complain. Argentina won today in the World Cup, so that's extra good for me too.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
How long you?
How's everyone doing?
Oh, we're good. Yeah, let me introduce you. This is my son Claude, and this is my other son Henry, and this is a friend Brado. So I brought them. They're usually on the show with me sometimes. So we get done talking, we're gonna ask some questions. Probably have some questions to ask you about fitness. So the topic tonight is muscles, game, and frame. And now I met you 2-3 years ago on Facebook, I believe. I think you might have been in Mexico then. Where were you before you were in Mexico? Were you in the UK or were you traveling somewhere else?
I believe when we first met, it was mid-pandemic, and yes, I was in London, lockdown.
Okay, when did you go to Mexico?
So that was 21. So yeah, just about 18 months ago.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I can't remember when it was, but the one thing I noticed about admired was you was in good shape, and I've seen since then. I've saw your transformation from when you started, when you finished. When did you start working out?
Long time ago. So I first started when I was 18 at university. Before that, I did dabble, so push-ups at home, pull-ups here and there when I was playing sports. So I'd say dabbling from about the age of 6 at university, my first year.
What motivated you to start working out? Why did you decide you wanted to get in shape?
So it's funny to think about it. I was playing a lot of sports. So I was playing a lot of football, and I felt I could add more value to the team being a strong middle, and I felt that my strength gave me an advantage. So that was initially why I always felt that as a grown man, I wanted to be a kind of strong, dominant figure. Right. And I think we're talking about, game and masculine frame. My first memory actually was when I was at Cuban carnival in the middle of London. It was a summer's day. And I remember there was these two that had like 5 or 6 women around them. And they were topless, looked in great shape. And I was like, so that's the connection I had in my head when it came to, like, if we're talking about game and that could match up. But it's just something I always wanted. I had cousins that were into fitness, like some of my closest cousins. and I always admired them. And yeah, I just decided, university, and for me it was, it just felt like the right time to do it, and I just went all in and didn't.
Now, before you started working out, did you have struggle with girls, or did you find out after you started working out you felt better about yourself and it was easier for you to talk to girls and to interact with them, or how did that? I know a lot of guys think, and I think it's a fallacy, that they'll get in shape and the girls will like them for that. Well, the girls, I believe, are attracted to it, but it's really more about how it changes the way you feel about yourself, and then that's what the girls are attracted to. That's my opinion. So, did you find out as you worked out more that you found it easier to interact with women?
Yeah, very difficult growing up. Um, Looking back now, I don't think it was that difficult, but I would always compare myself to my friends who would always have a lot more success. I describe him as like a Lewis Hamilton looking like figure, but much taller. I'm not sure if you're familiar with F1, but he's like a famous driver, very good looking guy. And basically,
Yeah.
the age of 12, 13, as long as I can remember, like he would always have. Let's say we're walking together and we both see a hot girl, she'd always look at him. And it's funny because I know there's a whole argument about choosing signals and they don't exist. For me growing up, they definitely existed. So I was always the side friend. And, I remember one of my first earliest moments was a girl I was messaging on MySpace, I believe. And we was messaging for me, and I had, full one nights for this girl. She was beautiful. And I remember arranging to meet up with her. She was with her sister or something like that. And I decided to go to town with my friend. After meeting her, I thought everything went really well. I was really excited. And I remember a time we all met together, locking eyes with her. And I was there just thinking, it's all normal. But I could sense something was up. And I think they exchanged numbers. And I thought, okay, it's fine. I've got a number. He's got a number now as well. And where I see a text, I see he got a text. And I asked him, who texted you? And he was like, oh, she and yeah, next thing you know, 2 weeks down the line, she's over his house. And I'm asking questions, but, really, really struggling. And that really hurt me. And that happened until even after I started training, that kept on happening. But what really, on a holiday, we went together to Jamaica when I was maybe even the age of 24, I finally built up my physique. And basically the reverse thing happened where we both saw a girl. And that was the one that, and yeah, so I've probably went a bit off tangent there, but that's when I really realized that natural good looks, tall, good looking, have everything about them. But if you really build your physique and obviously build your character, before I learned about game and the whole inner side, but I think that building your physique will build you a bit of extra confidence about you. And that's how you can compete against those naturally good looking guys.
But do you think when you talk about walking down the street with your friend and the girls would seem to be more attracted to him, do you think it was because of the way he looked? That may have been part of it. Or do you think it was the way that he carried himself or the aura that he put out because of the way he felt about himself?
That's a good question. So my friend, when I'm talking about growing up, obviously I'm making money. So he would always have the latest trainer, the latest outfit. Cooler, better catch than me anyway. So I think that probably had something to do with it. But it was weird now. Even if we got together now, girls will still catch his attention. I'm sure, like, if we're talking about Chad, like the Brad Pitt, if you're next to Brad Pitt, you're going to have to probably work a little bit harder. So that's kind of been into this whole thing, was literally being the side friend. Like I was literally the friend in the passenger. And obviously there was a lot of factors which made me second best a lot of the time until now I feel if we go out, it's still a similar situation, but I feel like I've worked to myself enough.
Yeah. Well, how did you find now Mexico? Was that the first time you went to Mexico in the last couple of years, or had you been there before?
That was my.
Okay. How did you find? Because I've heard women in the West, in the UK and over here are similar. How did you find, what kind of a difference did you find between the women in Mexico compared to the women where you're from in the UK?
So Latina women are my favorite, which is why I got engaged to one. But yeah, they really, they're not hiding that at all. Because basically, Playa del Carmen, where I was for 13 months, there's a full melting pot around the world. You've got Europeans, you've got people from America, you've got, you know, and you've got, you know, the whole of South America. Well, the people that can afford to be there. Then, and obviously you've got obviously the Mexicans as well. And what I find is that all the Westerners, so the Canadians, the Europeans, they like to test more. They would like to play a bit harder. So, you know, even Canadian girls, they like to act like they're your level, if that makes sense. Like, they don't need you. They might versus the Latinas, where it's like, if they like you, they like you. They're not holding back. And they're very passionate. But on the opposite side, I find Latinas are more, they're weather, things like that, you're going to experience a lot more. So you might actually have more headache from those kinds of girls. Whereas as soon as you maybe show them a red flag, they're off, and you know they know their worth, you could say. And but yeah, Latinas, yeah, they attach hard, they get jealous, they love hard. And my favorite.
Yeah, they're definitely jealous. My kids are half Spanish, so their mom was from Latin America, and I've dated several Latin American or Spanish girls, and even my daughter's jealous. Like, she doesn't want me going out with anybody. She says I got to stay single for the rest of my life, but we won't go there. But yeah, but like you said, they're passionate. They're more passionate. That's what I like about them too. And they're a lot, as you've noticed probably when you went there, they're always hugging, and their brothers and their mothers, and it's more family. The family's got a lot stronger bond in the Latina community, I think, at least than what we got here in the West. There's a lot more emotion shown, and there'd be brothers walking down the street with their arms around each other, and mothers and daughters holding their hands, or at least that's the way it was in Latin America. Did you find that in Mexico too?
In Carmen, where I was a tourist location, so you wouldn't say there were too many families there. I didn't really experience that. Argentina, I can see that, yes, you know, everyone kisses each other with kisses. In terms, I think Argentina's actually been, because a lot of them are like maybe second, third generation Spanish, Italian, and so I'm not with the other South American countries, but definitely a lot more open, if that makes sense. Like, it was a horror show in terms of everyone's, maybe it's just London, but everyone is, or maybe it's just big city vibes, but more reserved, a bit more proper. I feel like, you know, that's, well, I guess, you know, Mexico, because I was only in one little tourist town, but, you know, where people are most people are on vacation, but in terms of people being more open, people wanting to get to know you, and not even the women, the older women, you know, they're very intrigued and with too.
So how do you? Who's that? Who's in? Respond to the chat there. Welcome. What's his name? Duque Estrada. Yeah, glad you're here. I was thinking. I know for me when I travel, because I work out, been doing it for years, and I eat a pretty well bland diet every day. Tuna and peas, bananas and dates. That's about all. Occasionally I'll eat something different, but when I travel, it's really hard to get. How do you manage traveling and then eating the kind of diet you need to maintain the type of physique you've developed over the years?
Great question. And yeah, there's definitely times where you have to be flexible. So ideally, I don't actually like to prepare food myself. I like to eat out. So I'll look for somewhere where there's ready meals available for a good price. If I go to the supermarket, yeah, I might grab tuna. I think tuna is probably the best high protein source as well. And you know, worst comes to worst comes to worst, you can just have that. You can have oats as well, pretty easy to prepare. Obviously, there's times where full kitchen available. Maybe it might be a microwave and a couple and a stove.
Yeah.
So there's not much available. It worked really and truly, and just as long as fitness is your priority, you always find somewhere to get the right foods, and it's just about prioritizing really and truly.
And now you coach men too, don't you? Isn't that what you fitness coach? Yeah. How long have you been doing
Yes,
that?
that's correct. Since 2017.
Oh, a long time. Yeah, obviously. I always say we have a saying that says, "Obviously, you can't transmit something you haven't got." Well, you have something to transmit, so that's good. A lot of you see a coach and he's like terrible. Well, talk about high school coaches. Generally, they're terribly out of shape, and they're trying to teach other people how to take care of their health. So, in contrast to that, you're in great shape, so you know how to. You have something to transmit to other people. You have validity, I guess I would say. Welcome to Wade Emery in the chat. Glad you're here. Go ahead, Joshua.
No, I was gonna say thank you. It's my passion.
Yeah. Now, do you help guys with women, or is your focus on just getting in shape, or the how do I say the attitude that goes along with that? Because I know you're quite the ladies' man, at least from what I've observed. So, is that something you help men with too, or?
Yes. So when I was in Mexico, I was doing cold approach coaching, and I have had clients where I've been coaching them with their life as well as fitness. It's always interesting because a lot of fitness, or they want help with that, or they want it's interesting. Like I at all areas, there's nothing stopping you from training in the morning and then working on your social skills. It has been separate, but I feel confident training people in both.
Yeah, so basically you help men to level up.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah.
Well, I think we need some leveling up here in the U.S. You boys got any questions for?
You stole most of mine. That's good.
I got a few. I got a few I written down on my phone.
Brado's here. Got a.
So for weightlifting, what would you say is a good amount of rest time in between sets? Let's like it could be for anything like bench press, squat.
Yeah. So really, as long as it takes you to get ready, roughly 45 seconds to a minute, ideally. If you're going for like a personal best, you might want to. But essentially, you want to be efficient with your workouts. You don't want to be in the gym for 2-3 hours when you can just do it in. Really, be in the gym for more than 45 minutes, an hour. And for me, the main thing is more consistency. Consistency for you is only 40 minutes and do that 3-4 times a week. Then just do that. If you want to spend an hour and a half and you want to get into like powerlifting and resting for 2-3 minutes before, but whatever is consistent for you, give it a try and see what works for you.
Yeah, because right now I do it like 4 or 5 times a week, and I'm in there for like I'd probably say like an hour, maybe a little under, and I do just squat, bench, and power clean for the most part, and it takes me about like just about a minute. So I was making sure that's like a good way to rest in between sets.
Yeah, perfect.
Have you competed in the Mr. Olympia, and how many times have you competed in it?
So never missed Olympia. I wish. Bodybuilding shows. I've done amateur shows, and I did that once. It was just before the pandemic, so 2019 summertime, and it's very tough, very challenging. I had a super strict diet, doing 2 sessions a day, an hour and a half of cardio a day, and I learned a lot, but I'm not sure if I'll do it again.
Yeah, it's pretty strenuous, I think. So I've heard.
I actually do have 2 more quick questions because I like asking this. I'm a curious person. Currently, what is your body percentage fat, and what is your current maxes right now for any particular lift? It could be your choice.
Good one. I think the only way to actually really tell is to do like an autopsy, but just compare photos. So if I'm going by how I look in the mirror, I'd say roughly about maybe 12-13%. not the most lean, but enough where I feel strong and have energy and feel. Max lifts now they definitely aren't as strong as they used to be. Right now I'm going for pains. I'm not sure what's going on there, but that hasn't stopped me from training. So right now I'm not really lifting heavy, but my max was 170 kilos for one. I was like I usually double it, so that's like 330, 340 pounds for one. Max squat plate, so that's 180 kilos. So that's 180, 160, 180. So that's maybe like 350 pounds. And then my max is probably about 240 kilos, 500, maybe 480, 500 pounds, something like that. For one. Yeah, that's the most I got to. I don't think I'm anywhere near that right now, but that's okay. I'm getting a bit older now, so it's and just maintaining what I got really.
That's incredible. I come off as pretty skinny, but I'm pretty physical in the weight room. I mean, I have one more question, actually. What are the best foods to eat pre-workout and post-workout?
Great question. So I said pre-workout, you don't want anything too heavy. So I'd have just something small, like a banana, or maybe in the morning I'd have some oats to give me some energy throughout the workout and throughout after the workout. So anything high protein based. So rice, you've got maybe some beef with some rice again, or potato. What I usually do, I usually eat out anyway. So I usually pick out whatever they've got there, bucking based, or maybe I'll go for fish occasionally, white fish. I wouldn't be too before. I used to prioritize that, but I think the main thing is just the consistency and a high protein diet. For years, I would be taking protein shakes for many years. I haven't done that for a long time now. A bit more inconvenient to be carrying around bags of protein and things like that. But yeah, definitely just high protein after your workout. If you're trying, because obviously there's different goals, right? If you're trying to bulk up, build muscle, then obviously pack on the carbs. Eat a lot. Eat as much as you can. Really, if you're trying to build the muscle, you have to really eat. Like I can't be the biggest advantage, and especially if you're natural as well, you're gonna have to really eat. I actually took a weight gainer when for maybe the first year. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, because just buy a pure protein powder and then just add in your oats but it definitely made the difference. So if you're trying to gain weight, pack on the carbs, right? Lots of oats, potatoes, and obviously if you're trying to lean down, then obviously this is the main difference between if you want to bulk up, lean down, but the protein should always be high regardless of lifting or your current journey.
What would be one way to contact you if people wanted to learn more about fitness?
Yeah, for sure. So JP on Instagram, it's 123. Facebook is Joshua Palmer. My YouTube is JP, and they're the main ones. If anyone wanted to reach out,
put the links in the description for anybody who wants to. Do you have any?
Yeah, I was gonna ask. Do you think you have more days when you don't want to go to the gym, or more days when you do want to go to the gym?
Days that I do. I feel like if I don't go to the gym, I'm missing. Like it's just for me, the gym is whatever's going on in my life. The gym is a win. Like the gym is a place where I'm winning, and even if I have the worst day ever, if I've got the gym out of the way, it's a win. So I think 13 years now. So it's just ingrained in my life. It's very important for me, especially now. As I mentioned, I'm going through these weird pains. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it's when I feel the best. My body feels the best. I get I do a little minute run, get my heart going, and do my stretches, do my workout stretch, and then it's like it's a very, very critical part of my life, to say the least.
Yeah, I find when I've worked out so long that it's actually easier to work out than it is not to work out. It becomes a habit. If you do it long enough, it becomes a habit. And then if you don't do it, you actually feel worse, or at least that's the way it works for me. We move on to game. Now, how much weight do you carry with the difference it makes if you're in shape as far as girls being attracted to you as if you're not in shape? I know there's a push or a certain sect of people or women or social media that says the dad bod's attractive, but they actually did a survey on that, and the stats show that women are more attracted to men who are in shape and have a six-pack rather than the dad bod. So I know in my life I've seen guys that aren't that attractive can pick up women, so I know it can be done, but how much difference do you think it's more of a difference in the way the women are attracted to you because of the way you look, or because of the way the man feels about himself, or a combination of both?
Good question. And yes, a bit of everything. I think one of the main takeaways from my experience I was one of the main tourist attractions in the whole world, and I got to see the whole city, guys with loads of money, no looks, no game. I'd see guys with no looks, great game, and I see guys with all of them, and I see the naturals. Naturals by far would do the best, and the people in great shape would do the naturals in great shape. It was game. It was like unbelievable. So working at a minimum. The thing is, you can actually be in great shape, well, and very strong, and not get results with women. I've seen guys, they're lifting all this weight, and they're, very impressive, but you never really see them talk to girls. I think the guys that had the best success by far had the physique, and they had the money. The guys, as you can imagine, it's probably not rocket science, but the guys that had a great character and were popular, it's so much more to it. You've got the social side as well. So, who had that, and they had the friends in the right areas. They had all the wins. So, but then again, like I said, I've seen anomalies, but everyone who was trying to improve, everyone worked out. I didn't see anyone who was trying to have success and haven't got time to work out. That's not something I experienced, especially somewhere like Playa del Carmen or Cancun, where you've got to show your body. Maybe if we're talking about somewhere cold, somewhere like London, New York, where it didn't even show your physique as well, as show it off as much. But definitely 100% helps to be in great shape.
Yeah, I know some people out there, I'm sure you've met men, they think, well, I'm not that attractive and I'm not 6 foot tall and I don't have six-pack abs, so there's nothing I can do. Women aren't going to like me. And I think they use that for an excuse, because they are, every man can improve. As in contrast to a woman, it's a little harder for her to improve. She's either born pretty or she's not. Now, she can stay in shape, of course, but a man can change his body. He can change his income. And of course, women and men are attracted differently. Men are not, I don't know about you, but I'm not too concerned about what the woman makes, how much money she makes, or if she's got her own place or any of that. As long as she's not sitting around the house on the couch watching novellas, eating bonbons, I really don't care, and getting fat. So I probably can't say that word here, but I'll say it anyway. But with a man, he can do a lot to improve himself, because a woman is not just attracted. She's initially attracted by his looks, but he's got to have something on the inside. He's got to be someone who can provide it if she decides she wants to stay with him. So I think men are really just using that as an excuse to not level up when they say, well, I'm not tall enough, because I've seen short guys get good looking women, and they can also improve their body. There's so much that my son, how tall is Mark? 5 foot.
He's like 5'6".
5'6". He didn't have any trouble getting women. So I think that's an excuse. And of course, I'm sure it helps if you're 6 foot tall, and you're probably what? Are you 6'1", or how tall are you?
I'm 5'10" and a half.
Okay, that's about exactly what I am. 5'10" and a half. Yeah, if I wear a pair of boots, I make 6 foot and a half. So that's put me out there. But you look like you're tall. But it really doesn't make as much difference if you make the most. Like you say, if you increase your increase your income. A woman doesn't want to go out with a loser. So if a guy's not doing anything, not making any money, of course she doesn't want to go out with him. So what do you tell a guy who comes up and says, well, I'd like to work out, but girls aren't going to like me because I'm not tall enough and I don't make enough money? I mean, how are you going to help me, Joshua? I've just never had any good luck with girls. And what are you going to tell that guy? How are you going to help him if he's willing to do the work?
Listen, I've been reading a great book called Atomic Habits. I'm not sure if you've heard of it. I can't remember the name of the author. It's about, number one, you have to change your identity. And that's just your beliefs. So I always wanted the identity of a playboy. That was my identity that I wanted. I was nowhere near there, but it's something that I wanted. So I would watch a movie and I'd see Alfie. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, by there's a famous British actor, and he's basically this playboy. I recommend everyone to watch that. He's like a playboy that has like no, the women love him, and the whole money thing is actually that's the delusion I gave myself for years. The girls like that's probably the biggest lie. I think out of look, status, and money, I think money is the least of in terms of attractive women. I think number one is character, and then looks, and then status. I believe anyway. If you're going to put them in a hierarchy, I think they're all important. Great, has fun, not, a bit carefree. Maybe the woman doesn't want to marry you, definitely wants you for a night. And I think that's the kind of archetype that I always wanted to go for. I wanted to be that fun guy that, maybe we could have a couple nights together, have a bit of fun. You don't have to show me to your parents, let's just kick it. I'm that cheeky guy, okay, you might have me for now, but there's 2 or 3 other women that you might have to watch out for, and that's just fine. Frame was the most effective versus, because I've been there. This is the dream girl to my mum, and then this is the only one I'm talking to. I want to let her know that she's the only one I'm talking to. I'm not talking to no one else. That absolutely never works, and I've been burnt that way. And definitely when you're, reality, some women will criticize you for it, but they love it. And what the experts do is, like, you think, how can he get away with it? But they love that. Like, it sounds easy, but literally, like, I've seen guys literally they make up. I mean, even I've done this myself, but I've definitely witnessed other people, and they'll literally stand on top of the whole after they've been with 1 or 2 girls that are there that they've invited, and they'll find another girl, make out with her, like literally embarrass that girl, and the girl's still interested, still wants to, probably like even more. It's actually outrageous. But it's the most effective.
Yeah, they'll complain about him, but yet they keep going back to him.
It's
amazing. Yeah, it's amazing. I know.
Yeah, it's a hack. It's a hack system. That's you see, like.
Yeah, I've been the guy that was like that, and I've been the steady provider too, and they just get bored with the steady provider. So that would move me on to holding frame. Now, I say it's a lot easier to be single and date girls and just have a rotation than it is to actually be with one girl and be in a steady relationship, because you have to maintain frame. And what happens to a lot of guys, I've done this too, you get in that relationship, you got the woman, you think you got it wrapped up, and then you quit being the guy that you fell in love with. And that guy actually was the guy who had other girls that were interested. He had options. But see, a woman always has options. This is my feeling. She always has options. She's never out of the game, because every time she goes out, somebody's hitting her. But when a man's with a woman, a lot of times he has to step out to have an interaction with a woman. It's not like girls are approaching him all the time, usually. So he kind of gets out of the game because he's happy with his woman at home. So she's always in the game, and it gets to where the man doesn't really have options anymore. And a woman likes a man that has options. What's your thoughts on that?
And this is coming from a guy that's been, I've been engaged for now, and for me, the main to maintain frame is, I can go at you, and I know it's weird to say, especially when you've committed to engage. Like, if something's not right, I'm willing to walk away at any moment, and
Yep.
that keeps her hungry. And it's actually obviously this is obviously recorded, but you know, I feel like the best way to be, and I know it sounds a little bit heartless, but I feel that you came to this earth alone, you're going to leave alone. So it's not the same relation. It's not the only her that I have that attitude with. And yeah, that's why probably my circle of friends is so small. And if I will go. It's totally fine. But as long as I feel that she is, then we can keep going. And maybe that's not the best attitude. Maybe you should never get married with that attitude. This can end at any minute. But I can, and maybe when with kids, maybe that I can understand. Obviously, we spoke before, and obviously you told me, we had a conversation about having kids. I can imagine, now you're married, you've got kids. If anything messes up, now you're right. You can't see your kid. Now the tables turn. But I haven't been there yet, so I can't be in the frame. But I know as a single person without any paperwork, I know my abilities. I know I'm hard to learn my skills. My skills will never go away. I might be rusty, into that the community, you could call it, on Facebook during the pandemic. I literally just broke up with my ex. It was very painful during the pandemic. She, my obviously I lost my personal training business, frustrated. I wasn't able to pick up my online business as I should, and it just got to the point where it was internal insecurities as well, and I just became that kind of frustrated. It's good that I kind of edged her out and she left as well, and I didn't waste any time. Maybe I did move on too soon, but it's a case of just having what you can do will help you to hold that frame, and that you never become that guy that gets disrespect, gets violated, I guess, by your significant other.
Right. Well, I'd have to agree with you, because even with kids, a man needs to be able to walk away. I don't think it's heartless at all, because a woman looks at it like this. She looks at her man and thinks, what if something happens to me? Is he going to be okay? Is he going to be able to take care of the kids if you have kids? Or if I have kids with this man, if I would happen to pass on or die, is he going to be able to take care of these kids? It's been my experience that whenever a woman thinks you can't walk away, or that if she left you, you'd be crushed, she loses confidence in you. So I don't think that's cold at all, because I've experienced both sides. That when I know a couple of my ex-wives, I've had a few of them, and would ask me, well, if I died, you just go on and find another woman. I said, well, I'd be sad, but yeah, I'd be okay. And as long as you're like that, they act like they're pissed off about it, but really that gives them a feeling of security. Now, a lot of people might not understand that, but she knows that no matter what, you're going to be okay. And that's the way you got to be as a man, because you need to be her rock. You need to be her mountain, because women go through these emotional storms, and you can't be moved every time she goes through some storm. And she wants to know that she gets sick or whatever. Let's say she gets sick and she has a long hospital stay or something like that. You got to be the man that's going to take care of everything, tell her everything's going to be okay. So if she would happen to die or get really sick, are you going to fall apart and let everything that you two built together go to hell? See, that's what they're thinking. I mean, they may not consciously think about that, but you got to understand that women have developed this over thousands of years, or since women have been here on this earth, to look for a man that's going to be the man that's going to take care of everything, regardless of what they say in the West. I don't need no man, et cetera, et cetera. Well, you can't just get rid of that inherent evolutionary, we'll call it instinct, or the part in their primordial brain that has been that way for thousands of years by 60 years of women's liberation, because they know that if everything goes to hell, that you're going to figure out a way to get through things. Let's say the grid went down, electric went off, and everything, they're going to be looking. Sure, they don't feel like they need a man now, but every woman wants to know that her man can take care of her if the shit hits the fan. So I think it's kind of where that comes from, that you need to be able to walk away, because that shows her that you're okay with or without her. And that shows her a sign of strength. And you talked about it earlier, character. That shows character, inner strength. And I believe women are more attracted to inner strength than anything.
Yeah, totally agree. And that's not only women, that's for anyone. let's say you've got a friend, or he was a friend, and he's taking advantage of you, maybe through, he doesn't pay you back, and you're still going to him, and he maybe disrespects you in front of other people with him, and it's not just women. I feel like a lot of this is men, women, but I think it's just general and general social interactions. You just have to know your worth and know what you expect of people around you, and know how you want to be treated, and be very aware if someone's taking advantage of you, or if you feel like your life is being held back, because obviously the people around you are the people you spend the most time with, for sure. So see that mental strength to be able to walk away, even if you stay together forever, is absolutely important. But then again, I guess if we're talking about marriage, what's that unconditional love? I think there's something there as well, because obviously let's say with your children, you have unconditional love, right? Children, obviously, you wouldn't want them to disrespect you, but whatever happens, I'm sure you'd still love them. And that's I can't speak too much about in terms of I don't have any kids, so I can't speak about it. Obviously, my parents, my family, but even then, like, I feel that if I needed, I would 100%, and I wouldn't stop loving them. But it's just something I think that I need my own peace of mind and my own integrity, you could say.
I'm gonna check the chat. Wade Emery, he's in there. What's up, HUD? Who we got? I mean, yeah, these are my kids, two of them. This one's my kid. That was my kid.
I'm adopted.
That was a neighbor. He's adopted. So, okay, you've traveled. How would you compare? Well, let's compare. Obviously, you like the Latin women. So, how would you compare the Latin women to the women of the West? Why do you prefer? I mean, you said they were more passionate and more what's that? Spontaneous, loving. So, but in other ways, why do you prefer the Latinas compared to the women of the West?
Yeah, so outside of that, just that they don't really hold back. Like, they're not, and if they do, they're just playful with it. Like, and a Latina will be shy to take what she wants. So, if she likes what she sees, she may grab you, touch you, flirt with you openly. Even just the language thing, and that's something that really intrigued me. I can speak Spanish, and that was something that was, something different. I love, I love the whole kind of look, what they go for, and yeah, just generally the attitude. I guess maybe it's not out of place to say that I guess Western be a little bit more, probably earn more money, maybe a bit more educated. You could say it's probably more normal to go to university and maybe postgraduate than it is for, let's say, Latina. I could be sure, but from my experience, that's what it did seem like. Jealousy. I love that fire. I love a woman. It can be a little bit hard to deal with at times, but you like to be. I like being needed at times. Sometimes it can be a bit too much if a girl's too needy to stake her claim, and I mean, it can be a bit wild at times. I've never seen a girl or another person, but Latina is definitely more normal. For and I think every woman. I mean, not even Western women. I've been with, like, my ex before just before the pandemic, during the pandemic where we split up. She was first, but she had a lot of Western values. So you do get some Latinas with Western values because we've got the internet now. They can these ideas can spread.
Yeah,
crazy.
Call them ideas. Yeah,
the ideas can spread, and the thing is, I'm African, so I was born in Ghana. So I've always had a kind of mindset of what I expected women to be. So growing up, my mum would be the one she would work, but that was never a problem. And, you know, she knew her roles. And that's something that I always expected. And I'm more in tune to that, but not all of them. Obviously not all of them, but I feel like that resonates well. And even Eastern European women think like they're great at that, you know, that whole housemaker kind of energy. And that's why, you know, if I definitely say Latina women at Eastern Europe, you know, are two of my favorites for sure.
Yeah, well, you'd piss a lot of Western women off if you said, you know, they know their roles. Because I say it too. I say it like this: to say, we should know our place. Tell a woman she should know her place, and she can, at least a Western woman. But I know my place. But if you tell a woman she should know her place, it's like, oh, that's they get upset about that. But I think we all have roles to play, and it's a natural role of feminine and masculine, and it's kind of the way nature made things. And we know what happens when you go against nature. Nature usually wins. I didn't know you were from Africa. It's pretty traditional where you're from. The roles are pretty traditional, correct? Man and woman.
Yeah. So in Western Africa, you know, it's very common for the woman to be. It's completely opposite, to the point where, you know, the woman's probably willing to tolerate whatever because, you know, if some of her parents are, you know, it's a completely different society to the West.
Yeah, they're not. I don't guess they're all showing themselves on Instagram over there.
I don't think so. I haven't been for a very long time. I'm just going from what I've experienced around me, and yeah, you know, I was in South Africa not too long ago, actually, before I, and that was an interesting experience, and definitely, you know, that kind of energy as well. But definitely, yeah, women, they're the ones, even if they work, because there's different. It's funny, obviously, you know, it's hard to speak generically. I can't say all Africans are African,
Right.
White experience. It's funny. There's actually a culture where the woman works and the woman does the, you know, the looking after, you know, does the cleaning and cooking after the kids. It's the coloured culture. That's like a particular. Obviously, you got the different races and castes, how they've segregated it in South Africa. And very interesting.
Huh. What does the man do in that culture?
Look after the kids.
Huh. That's interesting.
The woman will make the
you know,
money and cook and clean. So it's very interesting.
You
A
know,
round of applause to those women.
in the West here, a lot of women would give up their boyfriend before they give up their Instagram. That's like that's a common deal. What do you think about that? I mean, it's nice to meet a girl who doesn't have an Instagram, and if she's got one, maybe just a couple hundred followers. So what's your thoughts on social media and women? I think that's probably mostly in the West.
Yeah, my thoughts. Great question. I don't think too much changes, because I feel like a hot woman is a hot gram. You know, if she's that hot, she's gonna get attention. You know, walking around. So you know, but yeah, definitely. Great question. Actually, I haven't really thought about it in the sense of when it comes to dynamics. I mean, definitely having a strong, and definitely there is a thing there. You know, if a woman has 100,000 followers and you've only got, you know, maybe it might make a difference, but I don't think it replaces real life. That's one thing I've noticed. You guys in real life, you got your stuff together, you got your physique together, you got a great personality, and goes out the window. But if you're using your Instagram and you're, you know, DMing girls and you're using that, if you see, you know, you got Tinder and then look at your socials, and if you're, you know, these people, and she can see that you got like all this validation on your posts and stuff, but it definitely makes a difference. And I think, you know, kudos to women, they got a great opportunity to, you know, if they want to do the whole OnlyFans thing or whatever, they can get great attention. You know, nothing gets more attention than a pair of, you know, a nice pair and, you know, hair done, nails done, and all of that. So, it's just the way the world is. I don't think you can complain about a girl that, maybe it can be, you can use that as a filter. I don't want a girl who's doing all this. Actually get an idea of someone before you actually invest any time into them. You can see who they associate themselves with. But for me, it's never really made more difference other than helping me to boost my Tinder profiles or whatever.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it'd be like a preference. It'd be women get a lot of validation off of those likes, and you got a lot of thirsty, they call them betas, I suppose, thirsty guys out there that can't get women. And we've always had those men, but always before they actually had to go out and meet people. So they were too afraid to do it, but they could sit behind a phone or computer and they could like these girls or make comments, and they have enough courage to do that. So the validation a lot of these women get it's not real. It's almost like imitation, because most of these guys wouldn't have if she said, yeah, come over, they would be afraid to. But yet it still builds up the girl's ego to make her think a lot of these girls are like a 5. I mean, I know because I've traveled out of the country like you, and there's some beautiful women in other parts of the world. I see girls around here that they're probably they're considered an 8 or a 9 around here, but down in probably Argentina, or I know in Colombia, they'd be a 4 or 5 down there because there's no competition here. Because here in the States, we have like a 70 to 75% overweight or obese. And I like the thin women. And then also the average weight of the American woman is 170 pounds. So, I mean, if you're into big girls, this is the place to live, but I prefer the ones that are in shape. So a lot of times these girls get an inflated ego because of their profiles, the Instagram profiles. So it can be I can see if I were dating a girl and she had a business, that's a different thing. But if she's just on there posting some of the provocative pictures, to me, if I were her boyfriend or her husband, I just don't think I would. I wouldn't want to be someone's boyfriend or husband if they were doing that, if it wasn't some type of a business. But you see a lot of women on there, you'll never see the man. And then you have these girls that travel. They have all these photos. They're in Dubai, they're here, they're there, but you never see the guy behind the camera. And they're not going there by themselves. So actually, I've been one of those guys on the other side of there, so I know how that is too. So the Instagram thing is, it's kind of controversial.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, what's my thoughts on it is what it is. And it's interesting because I think the right kind of girl will probably have a family. So maybe her dad's even friends with her, follows her social media, and brothers. And yeah, if out, then it makes, that says a lot about, maybe her dad's not around, or maybe it's just an easy target. I mean, for me, it doesn't really make a difference. I don't like if I was single, unless I was popping myself and I had all this going on for dating, maybe just to boost, as I said, boost my Tinder profile, whatever. But that kind of goes out the window until you obviously maybe you swap social medias. And I'd say everyone should just prioritize, if you see a hot girl in person, just say hello, and yeah, social media kind of goes out the window. It's made redundant in that situation.
Yeah.
I got a question. I don't mean to cut you off. What advice would you give to the more skinnier guys that don't really fill into their clothes and stuff like that? Because I've been there before, and I just started filling out. So what kind of advice would you give for more confidence to them?
You're asking for a friend, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, some girls love skinny guys. Some girls are put off by guys too big. That's all I can say. I think there's a perfect level. So some people physique in Fight Club is like the ideal physique, and yeah, just whatever you've got right now, 100%, like own it 1,000,000%, because a girl will be able to sniff you out in a second.
Yeah.
Inch of insecurity, it will just happen. Maybe your eye will flinch. You won't look her directly in the eye, a bit side on and not facing her down. Like whatever you've got, you have to act like you're a 10, like you feel like you're a 10, and I always say it's one girl, one vote. So we never know. Like for example, idea in my mind, maybe she doesn't like black guys, and if I'm thinking about that, I'm not going to approach. It's like skinny guys, you might not approach. Just assume she loves you. Assume that she and she wants to prove you wrong. Then that's fine. On to the next. So that's what I'd have to say on that one. Just in your head, it's all your internal game. Like get to the. I mean, if you have to put some work into it, maybe you have to like that. But you need to carry yourself like she needs you right now. If she had her way, you'd be together right now. Like find somewhere in a sense, and that's the kind of approach that I would have if I was single. Like she wants me right now. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
What's up? See, the husband is in the chat. I missed him earlier. Thanks for joining us, Hud. Glad you're here. Now you said you're more of a cold approach guy. I've heard, of course, I guess cold approach is like everybody has a different idea of what that actually means. Some people just, from what I've understood, it means just walking up to a girl, whether she's looking at you or not, and start talking to her. I've cold approached girls, but usually it's after I got, what'd you say, those choosing signals that some people believe don't exist. Women, to me, what I understand, what's worked for me is a woman will look at you or she'll put herself in your vicinity. She'll make herself available. She'll give you certain signals. And that's the only time I'll cold approach. Well, I say it's the only time. There have been times when I have approached a girl where she didn't give me any signals, but usually that doesn't work out too. She's usually married or got a boyfriend or something. Of course, all women have a boyfriend, but I've never had good luck with approaching a girl who I was in the vicinity with, who never looked at me or didn't give me any kind of signals. So what's your how do I say I can't think of, what's your ideas on cold approach? How would you tell someone to work that?
It puts you above everyone else because so many guys are terrible. Like for me, if you were to learn any skill, it is just to go up to a girl and say hello. That's it. Or, hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo te llamas? Hello, how are you? What's your name? That's it. And what can go wrong? What's the worst that can happen? She's not going to fight you. You know what I'm saying? She might just say, she might just ignore you. And that's just more about yourself. How you react is all your ego. It's your pride. That's it. And if you just kill having a good time, you're just happy with life, you see she's beautiful, you want to say hello, you have to do it. You have to know. I was even thinking about this the other day. Like, like some guys, I know some guys will love to, win and check her behind. Like for me, that's stupid. Like, that's, what are you going to do? Oh, you like it? No. You've got a second. And this places you above other men. Like, see what they like and they go for it. And they don't give a damn where. It might be on the bus, on the train. The most awkward situation ever, crossing the road, Think of the worst situation to do it and go for the character as a person. I'm 100% down for that. I think choosing signals do exist. Sometimes girls are in another mind, they're in another world, or maybe they don't see you die, maybe they don't care, but it doesn't mean that, if you present yourself in a smooth way, roll in the interaction, you can't, get exactly what you want from the relationship, like right now. The best approach for cold approach I find is take it as far as you can, as soon as you can. Maybe you might be going to work, you might be busy, but if the opportunity presents itself, you must be willing to do what another man will take 3 months to do in an hour. And then once you have the energy, you have the never go to approach someone to get their number. Like that's just you're not offering any value. You don't ever ask a girl for a number. Like, oh, hey, what's your number? It's just like, well, why? Okay, so I like you. You look cool. Let's do something fun. Let's do something fun right now. Maybe that's even the ideal situation. You do whatever you need to do. You didn't even get the number. See you later. On to the case of the number is like an afterthought, or the Instagram. It's like, okay, more of a logistics thing. We're gonna go to the beach later, or let's go out for a drink later. Okay, what's your number? Let's we'll link up, and that's 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 where it gets a lot easier versus I just want to get the number I want, and one will get into a day. I think that's silly because you're kind of get something from that person versus offering value, which is a great experience, a great time, and that really changed the whole game for me when I changed that shift of mindset from getting numbers to really and truly it's sex at the end of the day. So that is the goal as soon as possible.
Yeah. Are you familiar with Roger Allen Curry? Have you ever heard of him?
Yes.
Yeah, he's definitely a cold approach, direct approach kind of guy. But here's the deal: when a guy walks up to a girl and he says something like, well, a lot of guys will say, "What am I supposed to say?" Just say hello or say hi. That's all you have to do. They worry about what they're going to say. But a girl knows when you approach her that you're interested in having sex with her. So if you go up there and start saying things like, "Give me your number," or "Let's hang out sometime," I think a man needs to be direct and say, "Hey," like you say, walk up there and "I think you're attractive," or whatever you want to say, and say, "Hey, let's go do something fun," or "What are you doing right now? Let's go do something now," or "Let's do something tomorrow at 5 o'clock," or "Let's meet Thursday at a certain time." Because women want you to lead and they want you to be direct. The problem with guys a lot of times is they hee-haw around, as we would say here in my state, and they don't get around to what they want to do. And the woman knows, like you said, she knows what's going on. They can smell it. And if you're just talking and you really want to ask her out or want to do something with her and you don't do it, that hesitation, like you said, it turns them off. She knows what you want when you walk up her. Now, it's not that you have to be like Roger Allen Curry and say, "Hey, let's go have sex," but she knows that's what you want. So if you don't get right to it, she loses interest because you're not man enough for
her. Calibrated with it, everyone's different. You need to, and that comes with experience. The more interaction you can tell, like for example, if you approach a woman, she's dressed, how she looks at you, she's in your eyes, and she's licking her lips, and she's getting close to you, and she's trying to touch you, like maybe you make a move, then but you might come across someone who's very standoffish, got to hold her bag close, and then you're gonna act a different way, if that makes sense. The main thing is just to open it up. Hey, how's it going? What are you up to? And just be confident. Gym really comes into play because once you really are confident and you feel great about yourself, the confidence that a hello can lead to something, and versus having not much confidence approach and have all these lines and all these these different do this and say this and move your hand this way, and because you don't have enough about yourself that you have to do these pre-rehearsals. I'd rather someone get in shape and feel great about their career and versus learn routines.
Right. Yeah, it all comes back to how you feel about yourself. So you guys got any more questions?
Mhm.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. Tell us again where we can get a hold of you, Joshua.
Yes. So Instagram, JP_Fitness_123. Facebook, Joshua JP Fitness 123.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you. And join us again sometime.
For sure. Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
All right. Take care. And be sure to join us here next weekend. We're going to have Afi Kingdom, King Dre, and AV Alpha Villains live. They're going to fly in and be here Saturday night at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And again, check us out on the Dragon Ship at 12:30 p.m. Central Standard Time every Saturday. And we're done. We're out of here. Thanks.